guys, so Module 6, we're going to start looking at and reviewing here how to use a protractor to make angles and read angles. So 6.0A review, you should have kind of gone through those pages of vocabulary and make sure you're understanding from in your past somewhere what all those mean. Okay, that vocabulary is very key for this module. All right, so steps on how to measure angles with a protractor. Okay, there's a difference between sketching something and drawing something. So let's talk about sketch. Okay, sketch. You're going to start by making a ray with a straight edge. Number 2, you're going to use your knowledge about about 0 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees to estimate where to use your straight edge to make the other ray. And then number 3, label the angle in the appropriate way. Okay, that's how you sketch. And notice here in a moment, we will be demonstrating in number 1 how to sketch. Okay. All right, let me get another color going and let's talk about draw, because in number 2, we're going to be demonstrating how to draw. Okay, draw. Draw, you're going to start, same thing as number 1 over here. Start by making a ray with a straight edge. Number 2, line up protractor. So you definitely need a protractor. Okay, they're probably $1 at Staples or Walmart or Target. If you are unable to buy one for whatever reason, please reach out to your teacher and we'll get you one. Okay, so you're going to line up the protractor with the vertex. Okay, and you should understand what a vertex is. Okay, I'll make sure you are pointed to what that is when we actually do number 2. Okay, the vertex is where the 2 rays come together at that point where they touch to make the angle. That's the vertex. All right, number 3. Find the appropriate measure. On the protractor. Protractor and mark it. Okay, this is important. Be sure to understand the difference between both measurements. Okay, and again, I'll explain that when we get down to number 2. Number 4, draw in the second ray through the marking. Draw in second ray through marking. And number 5, same as number 3 over here, label the angle appropriately. All right, so there are your steps. We're going to go ahead and look at number 1A and B. Okay, now this is a protractor, guys. That's a protractor. Okay, this, every protractor has a kind of a point where you line up the vertex in. This one happens to have a hole in it. Okay, some of them only have like just lines that kind of meet, but don't have like a physical hole. Okay, I also want to point out a lot of protractors have centimeters marked. The 1, 2, 3, those are centimeters. These little tick marks in between are millimeters. And then a lot of protractors have inches down here for measuring, if you have to measure in inches ever. And then of course, along here is where we use to measure the angle of something. These are in degrees, okay? All right, so number 1A, sketch 65 degrees. Start by making a ray with a straight edge. Okay, this is my straight edge right here. Okay, it doesn't matter how long it is, but just make sure you have an arrow tip saying I'm a ray. Okay, we just did step 1 for sketch. Step 2, use your knowledge about 0 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and 180 degrees. So everybody should know that 0 degrees would have another ray right on this ray. 45 would be halfway up. 90 is straight up in a right angle. So 65 degrees is going to be more than halfway, but less than all the way up. Okay, so probably right about here. Okay, so I made my other ray estimating. Now labeling goes from here up, and that is 65 degrees. Now notice we did no measuring with this for the degrees. Okay, we sketched it. That means we're estimating, we're roughing, okay? All right, same deal, but 125 degrees using these 3 steps. Start step number 1 by drawing a ray. Doesn't matter how long or how short your ray is, just make sure you have an arrow tip on the end of it. Okay, now we're going to use our knowledge. Okay, we know straight up is 90, straight this way is 180, okay? So 125, let's think about that. If this is 90, halfway in would be another 45, so that'd be 135. So we're not going to be quite halfway into that. We're going to be right about there. Okay, again, I roughed it. If I mark it 125 degrees, guess what? It is 125 degrees. Okay, hopefully you've got sketching down. All right, now these steps to drawing are going to be up here because I need to scooch down to number 2. Okay, so let me first of all just kind of do this. We sketched, very important. Okay, down here we are drawing, very important. Okay, all right, so using these steps over here now, 5 steps for 2A and B. So you're going to need to refer to your paper for the steps because mine are above the screen, so we can focus on drawing it here. All right, number 1, start by making a ray with a straight edge. Again, doesn't matter how long or short. I think I just broke my lead. Yeah. Okay, so there's my number 1. Number 2, line up the protractor with the vertex. This point right here is my vertex. Okay, this protractor, this hole needs to be on the vertex, and then lining it up, the pencil ray needs to be straight through this line. Do not line it up down here. Do not line it up at the bottom. It needs to be lined up right here. That vertex needs to be in the middle of that hole. You might not have a hole in your protractor, but you'll have some sort of a marking to line it up on, okay? Now, notice that this black line here needs to be right through this arrow that's in pencil. Okay, so step 2 is done. I have lined up my protractor with the vertex. Okay, now I'm going to find the appropriate measure on the protractor. I need 155. Well, do you see there's 155 over here? And there's also, hold on, I got to move this over, sorry. And there's also 155 over here. Okay, now you have to use your knowledge about acute and obtuse. If I mark this 155, wouldn't this angle be really skinny? That's not 155 degrees. 155 is very large. It's out here, and quite frankly, it's off my paper. So I'm going to have to come in here and mark in between 150 and 160, about halfway in. Okay. Okay, now, as soon as I mark that, I take my protractor off and I use the straight edge to do number 4. Okay, I'm going to draw my ray through this point here. I don't have to go that far. I could go that far, but I don't have to. Just draw an arrow on it. Okay, now step 5, label from here to here. This is 155 degrees. Okay, that's how you draw. We're going to do one more. Okay, so again, your steps are up above. I can't show you the steps and this problem at the same time. You're going to look at your own steps that you wrote down. Step 1, start by making a ray. Step 2, line up the protractor with the vertex. Okay, so again, that vertex goes right in the middle of that dot there. Okay, and then this black line on my protractor has to line up with my pencil ray. Okay, this is not lined up. Okay, this is lined up. All right, 25 degrees. Do you see 25 over here? And do you see 25 over here? So we need to understand what both of them mean. 25 degrees is smaller than 90, so which one am I going to mark? Hopefully you're thinking I'm marking the acute one. Okay, so again, I have to mark right in between the 20 and the 30. Okay, I'm off my paper up here, but I can mark it down here also. Okay, then number 4, step 4, take my protractor off, and I'm going to use it as a straight edge to mark through this part here that I marked and the vertex. And I can go as long or as short as I want. It doesn't matter, because if it's extended, it would go through that marking. Okay, now step 5, label. From here to here is 25 degrees. All right, so you should know how to sketch and draw these angles. All right, now we're going to go backwards. For each angle below, use a protractor. Okay, again, this is a protractor. to find the measurement in degrees and write its classification: acute, obtuse, right, or straight. These words come straight from 6.0A's vocabulary. Okay, you should know that acute means an angle between 0 and 90. Obtuse is between 90 and 180. Right is equal to 90, and straight is equal to 180. All right, so the measure, this means measure of angle ABC. I'm going to write that in there. This means measure of angle ABC. That little symbol, it's kind of like a, oops, let me scooch it up. That little symbol right there, it's like a squished down L kind of. That means angle, measure of angle ABC. Okay, so the way we read that is A, B, C. The letter that's in the middle is what we're measuring. Okay, so it does not matter. We're going to put this hole right over that. Okay, it doesn't matter if you line up this black line through that one, or if you line up this black line through this one. It does not matter. Okay, whichever one you line up, you're going to read the other one. Do you see that I'm equal to 90? Okay, now if you were off just a little bit, see how I'm off right here? Do you see now I'm at, okay, this is smaller than 90. So do I take the 92 or do I take the 88? Okay, hopefully you see that it's smaller than 90. I would take the 88. Okay, depending on what you measure it as, I got it to be 90. That is a right angle. Okay, if you got the measure here to be 88, then you would put acute. If you found the measure here to be 92, you would put obtuse. Okay, so again, there's a little human error in this. Okay, all right, on this guy, it does not matter if you line up this black line with this line, or if you line up this black line with this line. Does not matter. Okay, so I'm lining this up. Okay, now it's going through 31, I'd say, between here, 31. It almost could be 30. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much 30. Okay, so it's going through 30 and 150. Okay, now this is what is meant by you need to understand both measurements. Is this an acute or an obtuse angle? Hopefully you know it's an acute angle, which means it's smaller than 90. So are you going to take the 150 measurement or are you going to take the 30 measurement? You better be taking the 30. 30 degrees, and that makes it acute. Okay, this guy. Again, it doesn't matter if you line up this one with this side or this one with this side. I'm going to go this route this time. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now, this is going through 80 or 100. Let me scooch it up because I'm kind of not. This is going through 80 or 100 if we extend that line. Are we going to take the 80 or are we going to take 100? Is this angle right here larger or smaller than 90? I hope that you're seeing that it's larger than 90. So we're not taking 80, we're taking 100. And this would be obtuse. Let me scooch it up so you can see that I wrote obtuse. All right, this guy. Okay, and it might be helpful to turn your paper. Doesn't matter if I line it up here or if I line it up here. Okay. So I'm going to line it up right here. Okay, so it's going through 70 or 110? Which one do I take? This angle is smaller than 90 degrees, so I'm taking the 70. And that would make it acute. Okay, next page, a couple more to do. All right, this guy. Measure of angle ABC again. Okay, that's lined up. This goes through either 0 or 180. Let me scooch that up, sorry. The base of my monitor kind of gets in the way here. This is going through 0 or 180. Is this 0? No, because you wouldn't even see that. Okay, it's 180. So, and that was called a straight angle. All right, now this guy. So very important to understand, we are never going to measure more than 180 in this class. Do you understand if you measured out here, it would be more than 180? And if you measured in here, it would be less than 180. Okay, so doesn't matter if you line up this ray or if you line up this ray. Okay, you're going to have to extend it though. Okay, that looks pretty lined up. Okay, I can't quite see where that's going through, so sometimes it's helpful to bring in like something straight to kind of extend. Okay, so that's going through, that's between 160 and 170, right about 165. Okay, is everybody good that it runs through 165? It also runs through 15. Well, is this a super big one or a super small one? Is it bigger than 90 or is it smaller than 90? This is bigger than 90. So we have to take the 165. And that's obtuse. Okay, so we just took that measurement there. Okay, this measurement right here is a whole nother measurement. Okay, this one, back up on this one. Aren't they both going to be 180? Here's a kind of an extension question. Do you know what all of that in a circle adds to? 360. Okay, so if we know this is 165, do you know what this would be? Okay, 360 minus 165. Okay, that's kind of an extension. You don't need to know that for this year. All right. If you do not know how to use a protractor, you must reach out to your teacher and let them know. After this lesson, we're assuming you know. If that's not the case, it's on you to let us know so we can help you. Okay, thanks, guys.